Good afternoon. Welcome to today's Mental Health Awareness Week's talk. And today I just want to talk around the demystifying this word mental health. This word mental health that is used all over the place now on TV and social media and in programs, films and stuff like that, which is fantastic. We really do need to get that out there and start talking about our mental health. And that's really, really important. What do I mean by demystifying it? One of the statements that we use a lot in Cedar Tree is this, and I'll read it out to you. Cedar Tree want to eliminate the stigma surrounding poor mental health and normalise societies and attitudes and behaviours towards it by illustrating how a person can have good well-being whilst experiencing mental ill health. Read that out again. Cedar Tree want to eliminate the stigma surrounding poor mental health and normalise societies and attitudes and behaviours towards it by illustrating how a person can have good well-being whilst experiencing mental ill health. That first bit, we want to eliminate the stigma surrounding poor mental health or mental ill health and normalise societies and attitudes towards it. Yeah, we all want that, don't we? We see this word banded around, the stigma towards mental health, and we need to get rid of that stigma, and that is so important. There's that second bit. What do I mean by illustrating how a person can have good well-being whilst experiencing mental ill health? So basically, mental ill health. Mental ill health sits on a continuum of having a severe mental health condition at one end, and at the other end you can have no mental health condition or no diagnosis of a mental health condition at this end. And from a clinical point of view, it's about getting somebody from this end to that end. That's great. That's a really great, fantastic thing to do. There's that other word, well-being. So we've got mental ill health, no mental ill health on this continuum here, and then we've got another continuum that goes through the middle of poor well-being and good well-being, or bad well-being and good well-being. So what we now have is 4 quadrants. And in this quadrant up here, in the top left here, so we've got good well-being and no mental ill health. If you're up in this quadrant here, fantastic, you're in a good place. So you've got no mental health condition, you're not struggling with your mental health, you're not being diagnosed with any mental health condition, and you have good well-being. You're in a good place, life is good, and it's a great place to be. Okay, stick with that one. Then we have down the bottom here is somebody who has no mental health diagnosis or condition that they've been diagnosed with, but they have poor mental well-being. So they are not in a good place. They're struggling with life. Their well-being is really, really low. They're having a tough time. Okay, then in the top right here, we have somebody who has a diagnosis of mental ill health, but actually their well-being is really good because they are managing their mental ill health. They are, whether that's through medication or through therapy or through support groups or any kind of support out there, support of their friends, neighbours, whatever it is, but they're in a good place. But they still have a mental ill health condition or experiencing mental ill health, but they're in a good place. They're looking after their well-being. And then down the bottom here, really, really tough place to be. They have a mental health condition, they're diagnosed with a mental health condition possibly, and they're down in this bottom place where their well-being is not great. They're really finding life tough. Okay. So what I'm trying to point out here is that normalising that mental health word, that demystifying that mental health word, because we all sit somewhere in that continuum, and we all move around in that continuum at some point. You know, whether we're over this far side or over this side, we all move around at some point in our lives in that continuum. And that could be daily, weekly, monthly, lifetime. So what I'm trying to say here is that we need to normalise what we mean by mental health. There isn't a them and us. There isn't them that have mental ill health and us that don't. or them that have a diagnosed mental ill health, and us that are, yeah, we struggle with our depression or anxiety or stuff during the day, we all sit in that continuum. We're all together in this, okay? By normalising it, it means that we can support each other. And what I mean by supporting each other is reaching out to each other. Yesterday, I talked about how we need to reach out, because if somebody is in this quadrant here, in this low well-being, doesn't matter whether they're being diagnosed with a mental ill health or not being diagnosed, if they've got poor well-being, and asking them to reach out and get support, it's going to be a tough thing to do. They're probably not in a place to reach out. So it's our responsibility, if we're in that upper quadrant, possibly, we might be a little bit in the lower quadrant, but it's our responsibility to reach out to those that are struggling right now. We need to reach out with compassion. We need to reach out with love. We need to reach out with care. We need to reach out with kindness. So last year we did a challenge, we called it Make the Call Challenge, and through that we might do this again, where we got you to do a bit of exercise, because we were talking about the suicide rates in the UK, and how dreadful they are, and we need to bring those suicide rates down. Anyway, in that Make a Call Challenge, we made you a challenge to do an exercise, but part of that challenge, the really important part of that challenge, was to reach out, to make that call. So I'm challenging you again to make that call. Make that call to somebody who you think might be finding life tough right now, whether they have a diagnosable mental health condition or not. If they are in that quadrant of their well-being is not in a good place, make that call. Because we're finding life tough at the moment, aren't we, with the COVID going on, loss of jobs, financially, all kinds of things that are going to push us down into that quadrant where our well-being is not great. So I challenge you to make that call. And that could be a phone call, that could be a text, that could be a WhatsApp message, an email, whatever it is you use, make that call to somebody who might be struggling this week. And if you could do that, one a day, that's 5 people that we've reached out to. And they then may feel the ability to reach out to others. So make that call. I challenge you. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.